Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. When we were young, there was more we believed in. When the cleric said that God was loving and all-powerful, we believed it. Now, increasing numbers of people don't believe there's a God, at least a God worth having faith in. Some of that is the media's anti-religion messaging, which can be the tipping point for people's long-standing worrying about how can there be a God that's omniscient, omnipotent, and loving, yet allow countless babies to die of horrific diseases and make us all suffer earthquakes, famines, and now COVID? If Walter Cronkite or Howard K. Smith said something on the news, we felt it was the facts, unslanted by what they personally felt. Now when we consume the news media, we know how slanted it is to reflect their bias, their topic choice, their word choice, their choice of guests, the facts they report, the facts they omit. Even Google search's filtration is far from neutral. We've become inured to the media having hired political operatives to be newscasters. For example, George Stephanopoulos, David Axelrod, and Chris Cuomo, brother of the disgraced governor. Fake news has become common parlance, describing, for example, Fox News on the right and CNN on the left. Now, whether Republican or Democrat, we know we're listening to focus group selected words read into a teleprompter and designed to influence us, not tell us the full story. We believed in candor, telling the truth. Now, as Stephen Colbert famously said, speaker's goal, people's goal, is often truthiness, the appearance of being truthful. We have a harder time even believing it's wise to say the truth. Our candor can subject us to the 3 C's: censure, censor, and cancel. We believed in professional sports teams whose players were loyal to their team through thick and thin. Now, already rich players will jump to another team for a bit more money. When we saw the doctor, we believed he'd cure us. Now, as adults, we're aware of how often they're wrong. Even the collective medical profession has been so wrong about COVID. First they said it could be spread by touching objects. Then they said no. Then they said it was transmitted only by sneezes and coughs. Then they said no, aerosols too. First they said lockdowns are necessary. Now, despite COVID being far more spread, they say never mind. First they said masks did little good. Now they say they're essential. They said the pandemic would be over by July, and here we are. What can we believe in? It's harder to live without pillars to lean on. Fortunately, there are plenty of less often considered things we can still believe in. We'll start with yourself. We all have self-doubts, but generally we can count on ourselves more even than we can on most other people. If you don't feel you can reasonably believe in yourself, what's a not daunting baby step of self-improvement that you could take toward better self-concept? We can believe in people that you can trust to be wise. If we've carefully decided with whom to spend time and to get to know better, we may have come to know people who are thoughtful and kind. They are people to believe in. Lasting love. Alas, many people find that the love they felt in the infatuation phase descended into something far less. But if you found lasting love, that is to be believed in. Your dog and maybe cat. Some cats, but most dogs, are quite loyal, sweet, and faithful, easy to believe in. Indeed, many people, including famous ones, admit to preferring dogs to people, and I have a link to an article about that. Writers or books you never tire of. My favorite author is Pat Conroy. My favorite, who wrote, by the way, Beach Music and Prince of Tides. My favorite columnists are Thomas Friedman on the left and Victor Davis Hanson on the right. Creative outlet. We have good reason to believe in the power of creative expression. Whatever comes most naturally to you, visual art, performing art, writing, craft work, whatever. Food you never tire of. I can count on loving apple pie with ice cream, good bread, and pizza. I've long loved hole-in-the-wall mom-and-pop breakfast places. I can count on most items at Trader Joe's being good, fairly priced, and my having a pleasant shopping experience there. Principles to live by. Some people believe deeply in redistribution, meritocracy, utilitarianism, productivity, or work-life balance. What foundational principle or principles do you most believe in? Well-curated media. It's easier to believe in media that present issues in full dimension. For example, these websites, Debate Squared, Fair, and C-SPAN. Good charities. Of course, some charities spend too much on fat executive salaries and other administrative costs, but a good charity, especially a small local one at which you can see the benefit, is something to believe in. Good plants. Who could not believe in the miracle of growth? And with plants, and especially with seeds, you can with minimal effort experience it. The orange Peruche tomato is a multiple taste test winning cherry tomato. Viola is an inexpensive plant that blooms all winter and into spring, and then you can get marigolds, zinnias, the black magic rose, which bloom spring through frost. If you live in a warm climate, you can believe in such reliable creators of eye candy as bougainvillea, hibiscus, gardenia, and my favorite, the orange tree. And finally, your favorite inanimate objects. Perhaps it's a comforting possession such as your comfy chair, pillow, blanket, shower head, or item of sentimental value such as a piece of jewelry or even your photo album. It's easy to believe in a brand that works well and reliably yet needn't cost a fortune. For example, even people of limited means can afford to use Toyota with 100,000 miles on it, which still has years of reliable life left. Whirlpool has long made solid appliances, and as long as you avoid models with fancy doodads, they're relatively inexpensive. The takeaway? Here at holiday time, many people who used to be moved not just by the commercial spirit of Christmas, but by its spiritual side, are questioning their beliefs, not just about God and religion, but about the other issues mentioned at the beginning of this little talk. But might one or more of the items I then listed provide you with some comfort and joy?